So this is a video that I literally had no plans on making, as well as being a type of video that I literally don't make. But it's an interesting topic that's definitely worth talking about, simply because of my interest in lost media, and because of how obscure this topic is. I mean, there's literally only one video that specifically talks about this prototype. So after I released my latest video on Batman on the PC Engine, which was a very surprising success for my channel, I was ready to move on to my next video and continue life the way it was. However, one comment on that video really sparked my interest, because it's something that a Batman fan like myself had no idea even existed. So a comment by a user named IronMan3582
Iron Man sucks
mentioned something about a lost prototype to Batman on the PC Engine. Now, I was very curious about this, considering that this is a lost beta to a very obscure Japanese-only video game. Now, the only evidence of this beta's existence is in this old Japanese gaming magazine that showcases an entirely different game compared to what we ended up getting in the end. Now, going off a few screenshots in this magazine, it appears that this game was meant to be a 2D side-scroller, similar to the other Sunsoft Batman games, rather than a top-down May-style game that we got in the final product. Now, the game was most likely going to play similar to the other Sunsoft Batman games on the NES and Sega Genesis, although these screenshots are giving me vibes of the sequel game, Batman Return of the Joker on the NES. Just by looking at the screenshots, I'm doubtful that this game would have followed the movie, considering that Batman's design looks to be based off the comics, with him wearing blue and gray, simply by going off the low quality screenshots available. A few more differences from the final game is what appears to be a cutscene that takes place in the Batcave. I only wonder how it would have played out on the PC Engine, considering that the cutscenes in the final game are also very impressive for the hardware. Now, the title screen itself is only slightly different from the final game. Really, it's just that the Batman logo is on the top right corner, while the title and copyright info is on the bottom left, rather than both being centered in the final game. Now, the only thing that actually remained in the final game was the level screen you see when you start a level, and that's literally it. So why exactly was this version of PC Engine Batman cancelled and reworked exactly? Well, I have no idea. However, IronMan3582 theorized that a possible reason as to why this game got reworked was most likely because of the low sales of the TurboGrafx 16. I mean, it just wouldn't make that much sense to make a game that would appeal to a North American audience exclusive to the Japanese market on a system that was really only ever popular in Japan. So it just was not worth the time and effort to make. Also, the game itself most likely wouldn't have done very well in Japan either way, because Batman himself is not that big in Japan compared to other places in the world. Sure, people in Japan probably know and recognize Batman, but he just isn't that popular over there. So anyways, had the Turbo been successful in the West, it would have been very likely that this version of the game wouldn't have been cancelled. But it's very interesting that the whole game was scrapped, considering that Sunsoft at one point was going to make a Terminator game for the NES. But they ended up losing the rights halfway through development and chose to instead rework it into an original game called Journey to Silius. So why didn't Sunsoft just rework it into an original game on the PC Engine? Again, I have no idea why, but I'm sure if it did come out, then it's possible that it would have been just an okay game. I mean, who's to say after all? Anyways, that's all for this one-off filler video.